Hey guys, what's going on? It is Space Cowboy. Welcome back to the channel. I got another iteration of the Space Cowboy Show where today we're covering one of the most controversial subjects in all of the Cowboys fan base, and that is quarterback Dak Prescott. Wherever you look in the Cowboys fan base, you're either going to get one of two opinions. Either, oh, Dak's good, he's great, franchise guy, or he sucks, he's horrible, and we need to move on. We need to get another quarterback in that limelight, okay? Yeah, I've seen a couple opinions in between where, oh, I'm indifferent, blah, 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 blah. But for the most part, you're going to see the two sides. You rarely see a gray area emerge. But that's besides the point. Right now, we need to talk about this in the sense of his upcoming contract extension. Because whether you like him or not, he's going to get his contract extension, okay? And he's going to be looking at a pretty hefty price tag for that. And I know a lot of people will say, oh my god, we can just wait till next year to give him his money. But are you sure you want to do that? Because when you look at what's going on with Dak Prescott, right, you can say, well, we can hope that he does this next year or whatever, and then we can have the cap space to, pay him or whatever the case may be. But the problem with doing that is that if you hold out and you wait till next year to pay Dak Prescott, what if he has a 30 touchdown season and he has a great year? He goes 12-4, 13-3. And what if he makes it to the conference championship and let's say he loses? What are you going to do now? Now he's going to ask, well, hey, this is what I did for you guys. You should pay me my due. And he's going to probably ask for $30 million, okay? Right now, at most, he'll probably ask for $25 to $27 million. And let me tell you something, that's a whole lot better than paying a guy between $30 and $35 million. And I guarantee you that if they pay him now, they won't have to regret it later in the sense of, well, we got to pay this guy $35 million a year, or you end up in a Kirk Cousins situation where you have to franchise tag him because you don't want to pay him as much, and it gets very messy from there. So the first thing I need to address before I get into his stats and is he worth this and all this other stuff is this whole fallacy that's going around called the moving goalpost fallacy. That's what it's known as. It's not an official fallacy, but basically it's when you take one argument and you try to morph it into something else to make sure you don't lose that main argument. So for example, if let's say there's a guy named Jimmy and Jimmy says that Dak Prescott sucks, and I ask him why, and he says, well, he just doesn't throw for over 200 yards and many quarterbacks do that, whatever. And then he does it, which he did multiple times, a lot of times this season. And they're like, and then I approach him again. I'm like, well, Jimmy, you said that Dak Prescott's a bad quarterback because he can't throw for 200 yards, but he did that all the time this season or whatever the case may be. So do you still hold him to that standard of him being a bad quarterback? So is he a good quarterback? And then Jimmy goes on and says, well, no, he's not a good quarterback still because he hasn't thrown for 300 yards. That's an example of it. I know it's a pretty stupid example, but that's the basic way I can describe it. It's basically when someone changes the standards for the argument to be fulfilled so that they can seem right, okay? And this happens in the media. This happens on social media as well. Like I've seen talk shows talk about, well, you see Carson Wentz, it's not fair to judge him like this because his team is riddled with injury. He just doesn't have the support group, blah, 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 blah. And when you try to do the same thing for Dak Prescott, they're like, well, no, because Dak Prescott needs to be good and he's not good. You see what I mean? And you could see examples of this all over the place, okay? You could see it on First Things First. You could see it on Undisputed, First Take. I don't know. I don't watch these shows, so I don't remember their names. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Now, another thing is this myth that Dak Prescott isn't a winner or he sucks. Last time I checked, Dak Prescott's 32-16 as a starter in this league, which, by the way, is the second best record out of any of the starting quarterbacks other than Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady's first because he's Tom Brady and the Patriots are good. So he was averaging 10 wins a season, okay? Not only on top of that, you look at his statistics. Did you know that he is, if I am correct, the first Cowboys quarterback to start every single game in his first 3 seasons, and he's the first quarterback in NFL history to have at least 20-plus passing touchdowns, and 5+ rushing touchdowns. No other quarterback has done that, okay? And yes, I will say that 2017 was hands down his worst season out of 3, which isn't bad to say. And he's only going to get better from here on out. You know, the fact that he's doing this when he's in his 3rd year, typically quarterbacks enter that age of, they are mature enough in terms of their position to do things that they weren't able to do back then. Okay, so for example, with Tony Romo admitted himself it took him until 2013 to master his skill set at his position. And keep in mind, when he started in this organization in 2003, that's 10 years. Okay, and that's typically right on the marker for how long it takes for a quarterback to master what they do. Okay, and I'm not trying to say we got to wait all that time and perform a Miami Dolphins situation to where, oh, now we got to find out if Dak Prescott's the guy or not. No, because that's different. Right now, Dak Prescott at this point in time is probably going to be the best guy that you're probably going to have right now. Like, you can't tell me that there's someone in this draft. By the way, picking a quarterback in the draft is like hitting the lottery. You have to hope to God that they can fit your system and they're good enough to fit your system. You know what I mean? So we got lucky with Dak Prescott. For all we know, we can be sticking it out with Kellen Moore or maybe Brandon Weeden. And trust me, we wouldn't want to be there, would we? So I look at Dak Prescott's stats, okay? He's averaging 66% completion percentage on his passes, okay? He's averaging around 2,500 yards a season, averaging about 22 touchdown passes a season, 6 rushing touchdowns, which is pretty good. And interception-wise, he's averaging about maybe 6 to 7 a season. And you might say to yourself, well, that's kind of pretty meh numbers. But the fact of the matter is, he's 32-16 as a starter. The team has done really well. And it's very rare that you find someone that can keep your team stable enough to at least produce the results that he's doing, okay? He's led his team to 2 division titles, and he's won a playoff game, okay? And, you know, I look at those playoff games, we can agree that out of the 2 that he lost, it was the defense that failed to step up when it needed to. Okay, Dak Prescott was not the reason why we lost any of our playoff games, okay? And that's objectively looking at it. You can't sell me, yes, he did throw an interception in the Green Bay game, his first one. Yes, he threw an interception in the Seattle game, but we won that game. But overall, he was the reason why we stayed in those games, okay? Now, when you look at what he's done of late, you know, even his postseason stats are you know, crazy for, you know, the time that he's been in the postseason, okay? He's thrown, in totality, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he has had 2 rushing touchdowns, okay? And he's, you know, in the playoffs, it looks like he comes to shine when he needs to. And that's what I find very good in a quarterback. Like, you need a quarterback to step up in the postseason, right? You look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff has only thrown 2 touchdown passes in his entire postseason career. Dak Prescott has more touchdown passes in 1 postseason game than Jared Goff has in his entirety as a postseason quarterback. And same with Wentz, but Wentz hasn't gotten there yet. But he probably will. And you might say to yourself, well, Space Cowboy, why are you even talking about these other quarterbacks? Because now we're getting into the discussion of how much do you pay Dak Prescott. To me, he's definitely worth around 25 to 27 million. You have to say to yourself, guys, and you might think I'm crazy for saying that, but let me ask you guys this. So, is Dak Prescott a better quarterback than Blake Bortles? Is he a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson? You might say, well, he's better than Blake and Kirk, maybe Cam, but definitely not Russell. That's fair enough. Well, if he's better than Kirk Cousins is on average making $28 million a year, okay? And guess what? What has Kirk Cousins done of late? What? He's had gotten to the postseason once, and that was because the NFC East was horrific that 2015 year? Give me a break. Yes, Kirk Cousins, he can put up solid stats, but can he win you games? He's proven no. He's had a chance to get his team to the playoffs. Last year, well, 2018 now is last year, is a prime example of that. So, you look at the quarterback market. The quarterback market is right now looking at Dak Prescott to get paid around $25 million. Now, if you were to account his age and the time and all this other stuff, probably around $23 million. But guess what, guys? He's going to get paid that money. Whether you like it or not, he's done what he's got to do as a quarterback, and that's ultimately win you games. Yes, at some points he may not be the main focal point of why we win those games. Maybe it's because Zeke has an amazing game. Maybe it's because the defense has a stellar game. I understand that. But at the end of the day, do the Cowboys win games? Yeah, the Cowboys win games. Yeah. So it's not unreasonable to think that Dak Prescott is worth that much money. Now, you can say for the fact, well, Dak Prescott isn't a good quarterback without Ezekiel Elliott, and I can understand that. He's 3-3 without him. Or actually, I stand corrected. Yeah, he's 4-4 without him if you include the two, whatevers. And I could be wrong on that, so please don't hold me accountable for that, because there was a couple of the games that were meh. So he's 4-4 without Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, and now you got to think, okay, you have to build a team around your quarterback for him to be successful, right? Isn't that the goal of any other franchise? The Patriots have to build around Tom Brady to make him successful. The Eagles have to build around Carson Wentz to make him successful, hence why he was an MVP candidate in 2017. They built a team around him that completely helped him elevate his game. And the Cowboys are doing the exact same thing. They brought in Amari Cooper, which we've talked about. I said myself, Amari Cooper is going to be the main test for Dak. Is it the fact that he doesn't have a number one receiver? And he showed. The minute we got Amari Cooper, we've been fantastic. The Cowboys went on a fantastic run to end the season. They managed to win the NFC East and win a playoff game. There's nothing more you could have asked for. So I want to see what he can do with Amari Cooper in a full season. But you have to realize something, guys. If you pay him now, yes, it's going to be a lot of money to pay him now. But would you rather pay him now and get it over with, or pay him the year later and maybe he has a good season and you have to pay him all that money? And you might say to yourself, well, what if he has a bad season? Well, you have to look at what happens. And I don't know what happens. Maybe he has a good season, but there's another reason for that. So it's all speculation in 2019. So do you take the risk of maybe having to pay him much more money and gut this team even more, or you pay him what he's due? Because, guys, listen, you don't have to pay Byron Jones. You don't have to pay Ezekiel Elliott. Guess who you just have to pay? You have to pay and you don't have to pay Amari either. You got to pay Dak Prescott and Tank Lawrence. Now, if Zeke starts causing a ruckus, now we're going to have an issue on our hands, because I do not want someone to sit out and say, well, I understand why he's doing that. Well, Gurley got his extension. Trust me, Zeke's going to get his money. Dak's going to get his money. Probably Tank Lawrence is going to get his money. It's just a matter of when. So, I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think about Dak Prescott? Is Dak Prescott going to be worth that much money? And I just want to hear what you guys got to say. And I want to hear the reasoning for why you say that. Like, oh, I don't think he's worth that much because of the team. I want to hear what you got to say. I can't speak for all of you because, only you guys have control over what you have to say. So I want you to leave that down in the comments section below. And once again, I just want people to have consistent arguments over anything. So when I look, and I'm not talking to people that I know, I'm talking about people in the sports media, right? You can't say that Dak Prescott isn't eligible for any of these excuses of injuries on his team, blah, 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 but say that other quarterbacks are available to do that. Are you kidding me? That is ridiculous. So I'm just a guy that's all about consistency and the logic behind that consistency, okay? So whatever your opinion is, leave it down in the comment section below. If you're new, make sure to like, subscribe if you're new to the channel to get more content from me when it comes out. Hit the notification bell to make sure to get notified when I either go live or I post something new. So with that being said, guys, I will catch you guys later. Peace out. Bye-bye.